All right, I guess we can kickstart this AMA. Gwen, you there?
Yes.
All right, awesome. Thank you guys for tuning in, and of course, thank you Orbit Finance for actually coming in. Welcome to our AMA. We'll be talking about Orbit Finance, Orbiter Finance. Sorry, I'm Kaiser, the host for the AMA as usual. I know that I've been hosting this quite frequently, so I'm very excited to hear what the special guest has to share today. Without any further ado, the stage is yours.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Kaiser, and it's our pleasure to join this AMA. And we'd like to share everything about that, about Orbiter Finance, about everything that you might be interested. So, me personally, I'm the BDM at Orbiter Finance, and I've been with Orbiter Finance for like almost a year. And then for Orbiter Finance, we are a cross-roller bridge, mainly in the layer 2 ecosystem. And then we will just facilitate all the instant communications among all the rollups and Ethereum mainnet. So yeah, that is basically about us, and really, really happy to be here.
Awesome. So I'm gonna get a little bit personal with you. I'm gonna ask you, how did you get into the Web3 space?
Well, that's interesting because obviously I'm not a crypto native. I just joined crypto space in 2019. Obviously, after all the big breakthrough of the blockchain industry. So actually, I was a interpreter before, and just doing some boring translation or interpreting work. But there was a conference about blockchain, and I just feel like, oh yeah, this is something that I never heard about. Oh, so this is quite intriguing, to be fair. And then I just started to, to learn some interesting stories about blockchain and the knowledge behind it. And then, yeah, here I am. So yeah, still have loads to learn, and still try to acquire the most I would say like on edge knowledge in this industry. So yeah.
Wow, that's great to hear. And this is what we are aiming for as well, as like a blockchain movement as well, right? We want to move towards the direction where there's going to be like mass adoption, and it's great to hear that you actually attended a conference and then it kind of intrigued you. This is exactly the direction
Yeah.
we want to. So it's
Yeah,
pretty cool.
I suppose that's probably everyone in this industry probably just get different kinds of intriguing factors or reasons, and then just to jump into this industry where you don't even know what's going to happen tomorrow.
That's very true, and I guess it must be like your skills must be translatable in this industry as well, since you were an interpreter, and you'll be able to interpret like blockchain in something more simple terms, and be able to explain it to maybe just your family and friends as well. Because I get this question all the time, right? Whenever I tell them I work in Web3, they're like, "Oh, what is it?"
Yeah, it's just like when you tell your mom and dad or even like grandparents generation, then they were like, "What is blockchain? What is Ethereum?" You sure you're not in like a cult or anything? So that's um. I mean, we still got a long way to go to explain everything to like the older generation, like my mom and dad who never been this kind of industry before. But yeah, I mean, luckily they're still quite supportive.
Yeah, I mean, can you imagine? Like, I remember having to, explain some of the concept to my grandma about like a smartphone, right? Like, you're teaching her how to use this and that app and how to kind of open the photo gallery, and it is a hassle for her to kind of understand how to use a smartphone as well. But now imagine actually explaining the blockchain to them. It's quite hectic if I'm not, mistaken about this entire experience for everyone.
Exactly.
Okay. Great to hear, how you have translated your career into all this, your process, your journey. It's cool to hear that. So I'm gonna ask you a little bit more about the project's background. Can you please tell us about the project mission, vision, perhaps even about the team and the motto behind it?
Yeah, sure. Our team was launched in 2020 21, and then all of the team members are distributed in all different countries like European, American, and Asian countries as well. And then I would say the team is quite hardcore tech lead because we have 21 team members and 18 of them are all developers. So I would say like most of the team, they're focusing on the, improve the performance of the Orbiter bridge, and some other team are actually diving in the zero knowledge technology. So, I mean, for the team, it's basically, I mean, the reason our founders established Orbiter Finance is actually we find the potential in the layer 2 ecosystem. But the problem of all different kinds of independent roll up is actually the communications between them, or the interoperabilities between all the roll ups are we're losing. So we just figure out that we can maybe just function as a bridge or an infrastructure where can facilitate all the instant communications between all the rollups and the Ethereum mainnet. And by the way, we only do cross rollup transactions. We're not a cross chain bridge because actually the security of a rollup it basically come from the Ethereum mainnet itself, and then so we can just obtain the security features from rollup as well. So that's main thing for infrastructure in the ecosystem at the moment. So yeah, I would say that is basically like the mission or the main target of Orbiter Finance. And we do support Ethereum native assets in a trustless and seamless manner. So currently we support 17 chains, including some most popular newly launched chains like Linear and OPBNB, Base, Mantle, ZK Era, and Starnet, and Skrill, Arbitrum, basically whatever you name it, all the active rollups. So yeah, that is about the background of Orbiter Finance.
That sounds really interesting, and you guys seem like you guys are doing a really good job. You guys, have a huge community, and you guys are actually building something that's required in this ecosystem as well, and the entire space. So it's cool to see, different types of projects within the Web3 space. Super cool. And I do want to ask you a little bit more about the product itself. I want to dive a little bit more. Perhaps you can explain more on like the use case, the features, and what exactly is it solving in a layman term as well.
Yeah, sure. I really like this question because I'd like to dive in a little bit more on the features of Orbiter Finance. So actually, the major features that we're having, as I mentioned, is definitely about the security. So besides the benefits that we're having from rollups, like the benefits of securities from rollup. Actually, we don't have to mint token during the transaction process, so that means we're actually less likely to be targeted by the hackers. So, I mean, from some perspective, in terms of that, actually, that means the user's assets can be better protected. And then another thing is that we are very compatible, so we support non-EVM and EVM rollups as well. So basically, as I said, all the active rollups can actually, can actually use Orbiter Finance to communicate with some other rollups, and the users from both different kinds of rollups can actually interact as well, and can actually enjoy the interoperability as well. And then another thing is that the transaction, obviously we have some like a huge group of users. The main thing that they enjoy using Orbit Finance is definitely about the time efficiency. So actually the transactions happen on Orbiter Bridge is actually between two UA address. One is from the user's UA address, and the other one is from Maker's EUA. So Maker is the liquidity provider, and we are the maker at the moment. So that's how we can guarantee the like the time efficiency of the transaction. So let's say, for example, if a user would like to make a transaction from ZK-Sync era to linear, let's say, and then all they need to do is to initiate the transaction on ZK-Sync, or so this basically the transaction is from ZK users EUA to maker's EUA on ZK-Sync, and as soon as maker receives that access, the maker will finish up the transaction on the destination network, which is linear, as soon as possible. So, I mean, during this whole process, some people might think, oh, this is not like completely trustless. But the thing is, we do have a arbitration system built within, and that's like the security and the precaution system, which means that the sender can actually appeal for a appeal for a transaction that they haven't received on the destination network within a reasonable period of time. So with the all these kind of protections, so no matter it's for the roll-up security features or for the arbitration, we can guarantee like the whole transactions will be 100% secure. And then another thing is that most of the users probably have already noticed that we are relatively cost effective as well. So I would say we offer the lowest basic network cost. So which is the sum of the gas cost for transaction between two UA on both source network and destination network. So yeah, that is the main features of Orbiter Finance.
Wow, that's great to hear, especially the part when it's compatible with EVM and non-EVM as well. This is much needed in the space. I've been saying it's much needed, but it seems like you guys are actually solving, real life application problems as well. Super stoked to hear, how you guys are going to even progress down the line. Another thing I really like is how the maker system seems very efficient. It seems like anyone can even set it up as well, right?
Yeah, yeah. But the thing is, Maker System hasn't been launched yet. I mean, ideally, Maker System will be able to meet everyone who meets the requirements at the end of this year. I mean, ideally, would be Q4, I would say. So, Maker System is actually a multifunctional decentralized mechanism. So, if you let's say if you would like to be a maker, or to provide liquidity for Orbiter Finance, then you can just set up the node anywhere you want, and then actually the maker system can empower both makers and the user to I would say like to flexibilize their digital assets in a safe and trustless way. So let's say there is a maker client and will be launched with the maker system at the same time. So if you become a maker, you can just apply to just apply for different kinds of liquidity provision in different destination network. So you can just set up your nodes wherever you want, and then that's the I would say like that's the main thing of becoming a maker. And then let's say the profits of being a maker is definitely about the high usage of the capital, makers capital. It's just like they can set up their own charging standards for different, let's say, different networks or different transactions, or they can just set up different chargings for according to the transaction amount. So I would say it's quite flexible. But the thing is, we recommend that all makers will probably can keep like over 100 ETH in their EOA as the liquidity in order to further respond to the transaction needs. And also a part of the assets will be will be marked as the excess margin in our smart contract, just in case there is any arbitration case going on.
Wow, that sounds really cool. So remember, guys, if you are very keen on being one of the makers, one of the maker node, then do follow them. Stay up
This space was downloaded via spacesdown.com. Visit to download your spaces today.
to date. Follow their Twitter right now. Just stay up to date with them. Just somehow optimize the Ethereum layer 2 transaction stability as well with this entire concept. It sounds really cool.
Yeah, sure. I mean, we will definitely launch this kind of news in the near future. And if everyone who is quite, passionate about being a maker or provide liquidity, just feel free to reach out to us.
Yes, ma'am. Maybe perhaps have 100 ETH, inshallah.
Sorry, you broke up a little bit. What did you say?
Nothing too serious. I don't think
Okay.
it's anything that's very important. But yeah. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
I can hear you now.
Okay. Cool. Cool. So I guess we have moved on from the maker system. All right. So what has been the toughest challenge that you guys have faced so far?
Well, in terms of the challenges, like I would say like the Discord disruption that happened not long ago. It's actually because one of our colleagues that accidentally clicked a false link. It looks really real though. Clicked a false link and then bookmarked it, and then just I think it just lead to some certain website, and then it caused the losing of the authority in the Discord administration. But yeah, we have already solved that because we have already set up a compensation mechanism for all the users who have suffered from this kind of I would say like a hack. But yeah, it's all good now because all the users are happy, and then they got the compensation from the losing. But I would like to let everyone in this industry know that just to be vigilant at any website or any link before you actually clicking it, because all these features, they look even smarter than you think. So that's like the interesting stories I'd like to share with everyone. I mean, in terms of the technical development, I would say like the challenging we're having so far is still, trying to be the infrastructure for the Ethereum layer 2 ecosystem. But during this whole process, we need to figure out, like all the different kinds of technologies like Ziki. But yeah, our technical team, they're doing great. So I would say like that's basically like the main challenges that we're facing so far.
Yeah, I mean, in this space, there are a lot of scammers. I'm not gonna lie, like we do see a handful of them, and we see them in Discord. So everyone has to stay vigilant, and I do not blame the scammers. Sometimes they do not have the opportunity to make more money than like scamming others. And there's a whole entire documentary explaining this stuff as well. In some ways, you do, feel bad for them. You do pity them because this is the only gateway they have. But at the same time, everyone has to stay more vigilant, especially in the Web3 space. Do not click on weird links. People are not going to ask you for your seed phrase. So yeah, guys.
Yeah, I mean, in order to cope with that, I mean, this is not like we are not the first project that have been targeted by the community hack. So, I mean, in response to that, we are actually doing a product upgrade, like a really big product upgrade, and it will be able to meet everyone at the end of this month or early next month. So yeah, I wouldn't spoil the surprise now. So probably everyone just stay tuned and see what we can bring to all of you guys, and bring like a better user experience.
Yes, ma'am. We're always trying to refine, reiterate. It's the space we're building. But it seems like you're not the type to kiss and tell. But it wouldn't be an AMA without asking you what's next on the roadmap.
Yeah. So that is about. I mean, the first step is definitely about to achieve the ultimate trustless. So for achieving that, we actually will build up a decentralized front end where everyone can become, like a dealer. So I won't go any further here actually because as I said, I don't really want to spoil the surprise at the moment, but I would say that is more of a decentralized or trustless way for the transactions and that the cross rollup transactions. And then another roadmap like the spotlight we are going to have this year is definitely about the zk prover that we're trying to build. It's like a aggregated middle layer to collect all the ZKPs from ZK rollups and also collect the transactions from some AA wallets as well. So we can just aggregate them again and then batch them and then upload them or get them verified to the Ethereum mainnet in one go. So actually that can save loads of gas consumption and improve the TPS at the same time. So yeah, I mean, achieving that actually can cause some different kinds of technical difficulties. So, but our technical team are really smart, so they're trying to, deliver this as soon as possible and meet everyone. So yeah, I can't go any further on this, but I would say like there are more to expect. I would say like in Q3 and Q4 this year. So we will definitely bring up like a brand new Orbiter Finance to everyone to more of function like a infrastructure.
Awesome. That sounds really exciting. So, we hear this all the time in the community, when this, when that, but they never know what's behind the closed door, right? And building something as technical as what you guys are building is going to be tough and it's going to take some time. And if you guys want us to deliver the best product out there, you guys should be patient and just trust the process as well. So this is a message to the community. Just be patient. We're building behind the closed door. Of course, you guys don't know what's happening, but it actually takes a lot of effort, and it's good that everyone's trying their best. We're cooking up something in the kitchen, and we're waiting to just serve it out, serve the best dish out for you guys.
Sure.
Okay, awesome. I've pretty much asked you most of the questions that I wanted to ask you in terms of your project. If there's anything else that you do like to address to the audience, feel free to do so as well.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, since you've already asked me some like good questions, I would like to, hear more from your side as well. Probably you can, introduce the single finance to all the audiences as well.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much for actually doing this, Gwen. So whenever I tell a story about single finance, I go back to, how I originally actually found single finance as well. When I first interviewed for them, I asked them, hey, what's the deal behind it, right? So it was actually because our founders were avid farmers back in the days, and they actually were a victim of a flash loan attack, and they got liquidated. So, like any other brand out there, there's always a story behind it, right? Because it's much more than what you see on a face value. So, what they thought was, hey, a lot of farmers, yield farmers, they are deceived by like this APY shown by the protocols, right, on the front page. But then they aren't really aware of the risk involved in the DeFi space because it's a fairly new space, and a lot of people do not really understand what's going on and how they're actually earning yield. And this kind of led the founding team to start Single Finance with that vision. The vision behind Single Finance is super simple. It's to enable yield farmers with a very smooth yield farming experience, but to also protect their interests, right? Protect the user's interests. So this is how Single Finance actually came about, and that's the vision. At a glance, yes, Single Finance is a leveraged yield farming protocol on Chronos and Phantom, but we also recently expanded to Arbitrum, We provide a whole entire smooth, like streamlined farming experience to users. So if anyone has farmed on Arbitrum using Camelot, they know how complicated it can get just to set up, their farming pool. We have streamlined that into like a very foolproof experience for our users. And Single Finance is the first DeFi protocol to offer like US dollar based capital protection like strategies. Um, so in a nutshell, it is a platform where farmers do not have to monitor the market, but they can also apply complex yet very time sensitive stop loss mechanism, right? That is very accurate. At the same time, it will reflect their profit and losses of their position. So we pretty much also educate our community on like DeFi strategies because DeFi is all about smart money. So what we do is we provide a very, very smooth farming experience with the use of leverage and also educate them on how to best use their smart money in DeFi.
Great. Yeah. Thanks for sharing this.
Thank you. So maybe I can tell them a little bit more about the product. What do you think, Gwen?
Yeah, that would be great because probably like the main product and the major features, like you asked me, of the product is having, that would be great.
Okay, of course. So, what single finance offers are actually very diverse as well, depending on what kind of DeFi user you are and what kind of strategies you have and your knowledge level as well. So we offer market neutral strategy. We do offer staking. We have this auto vault. So in another term, it's the auto delta rebalancing vault. We allow users to lend as well, and of course, our main product, which is leverage yield farming. With all this, with all these products, we do have features come into it as well. So we have the capital protection bot. So this will actually allow users to protect X amount or X% of their initial capital when they first start farming or staking. The second one is the auto compound. So it allows users to actually harvest and have the small snowball effect. So very similar to like dividends, right? When you have the drip, you do dividend reinvestment plan. So it kind of have like that snowball effect. That's how Warren Buffett kind of made a fortune out of like Coca-Cola shares. We do have the auto stop loss bot as well, which is to enable users to have this automated like stop loss mechanism just in place, just so they don't lose all their capital as well. And then lastly, the auto rebalancing. So this is for the auto vault. It is to find the optimal moments to rebalance the position in order to deliver real stable yield in the long term. So for example, if things are going south in a bear market, right? You don't want to keep losing that. You want to kind of rebalance your position. And with the auto rebalancing bot, it helps you find the optimal moments. This is how we actually deliver real stable yield in the long term.
Great. Thanks for sharing. So, I will actually have some other more questions. Like, I mean, from a user perspective, what actually will you recommend for a new user to get on board on single finance?
Oh, that's a really good question. And after let me just think about it. After thinking about like different personas in this space, there's someone who just started, who has like an intermediate experience, and then who is actually like a very like DeFi maxi, right? So from my experience, if I were to give you examples of three different personas, the first one for someone who just started off in DeFi, I would tell them to either lend it out on our lending pool where they can just lend out their asset. For example, let's say USDC, right? We're actually currently giving out like 11.8% APY. So how you will generate yield is when our farmers, leverage yield farmers, actually borrows your USDC, they'll be paying you back with the interest, and that's how you'll be generating it. So that's for someone who just started off on DeFi, right? For someone who's an intermediate, or like who's more like a DeFi maxi, I would say since we've expanded to Arbitrum, we actually provide a very similar service as like Sushi Swap, right, for farming. But then our farming pairs have like higher APY, even at a default setting, which is like 1x. It is due to our auto compound feature. So if I were to give you an example right now, let's say ETH and USDC pair. If you were to look at the APY on single finance and Sushi Swap, single finance APY would be significantly higher than Sushi Swap's like APY for ETH USDC pair. It is for both like farming and market neutral strategy. So what you will be doing is you'll actually be farming and yielding the tokens um, with that pair. And the best part about it is since we integrate it with Camelot as well, single finance is the only protocol to be whitelisted by Camelot on Arbitrum. So we have streamlined the entire farming process. I've been saying this a while. So the Camelot pools, we actually support Nitro Pool and Yield Booster so that we ensure that users are boosted and they can generate maximum returns. We also help them reallocate their escrow automatically so they do not miss out on their rewards or have to manually harvest them. So it will amplify their entire position while single finance also covers the gas fees. So I would highly recommend someone with like intermediate to DeFi Maxi users to actually start farming on single finance, Arbitrum, Camelot pairs because it actually maximizes their entire return.
Great. Thanks for sharing. I mean, if everyone who probably haven't experienced single finance before, probably, I think it's time to get on board and mess around with it.
Yeah, thank you, Gwen. I will be expecting you to also have some more questions about it after this AMA.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Oh, well, I'm just kidding, but it's been a blast explaining all of that. Perhaps we can show them a little bit more about Orbitar Finance and how they can kind of get kind of communicate with their communities. Where can they follow? Can they join any groups to get updated as well?
Yeah, sure. I mean, for everyone who probably would like to know more about Orbiter Finance, just feel free to follow us on Twitter. And it's actually Orbiter with a capital O and then underline and then finance. So yeah, just to be aware with the scamming accounts because there are tons of the, like the of the fake accounts. But yeah, I mean, if everyone encountered any difficulties during the transaction process, or anyone who would like to ask for support during the user experience, just feel free to reach out to us to the support channel in our Discord. So yeah, just stay tuned, everyone, and we will definitely release some first-hand news in the first place on both our Twitter and Discord.
Awesome. I will make sure to follow you at my personal account too. So yeah, thank you so much for hopping on this AMA. Yeah, it's great to kind of add more about Orbital Finance. It's been a lovely AMA session with you.
Yeah, thank you for having me, and I hope to talk to you in the future.
Yes, I believe I'm gonna, my teammate's gonna reach out to you after this AMA as well. Perhaps talk about, potentially working together in the long run as well. So yeah,
Yeah, sure. Happy
you
to
guys
do that.
are excited too, and just letting the audience kind of have a sneak peek, maybe in down the line. You never know what's going to happen. We are going to reach out to Orbiter Finance or something.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, awesome. I've pretty much asked you everything I wanted to. I've kind of shielded a little bit about single finance, thanks to you, Gwen. If there's anything else that you'd like to address, feel free to do so right now.
Yeah, likewise.
Okay, awesome. Okay, thank you guys so much for tuning in to this AMA. It's been a quick but a lovely session with Gwen. She's very straight to the point. It's been a blast with her. It's smooth as well, like our farming experience.
Thank
So
you.
yep, I'm gonna wrap it up. Thank you guys so much. Remember to follow them, join the Discord, join your Telegram. Just stay up to date with them. They're building something really cool. And thank you so much again. Talk
Okay.
soon. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.